Copenhagen offers a wide range of affordable vegan options, from street food stalls to trendy cafes. You don't even have to break the bank to eat healthy and delicious plant-based meals. Wait, what? Affordable vegan options in trendy cafes in Copenhagen? I asked an AI to help me write a script for this video, and I don't think it truly understands what it means to be on a budget. Straight up, budget and Copenhagen shouldn't even exist in the same sentence. It's an expensive city, and not just for eating out. So let's cut this shit and let's see how you can do vegan on a budget. Or if you're a student, or just want to save some money for another pair of white sneakers. The golden rule for budget survival is to cook at home, and this is something that most people practice here a lot anyways. But what can you cook? How does a supermarket fare for vegans in Copenhagen? In short, most supermarkets have a ton of fruits, veggies, legumes, pastas at an okay price. And a basic selection of vegan alternatives for cheese, milk and fake meats should be easily available. If you want to have a proper look, I have a detailed shopping guide for vegans about Copenhagen up here. But I digress. To keep you on a budget, I would cut out all the ice creams, fake meat and fake cheeses straight up. They're usually not cheap. Or if it is cheap, it will taste like cardboard and it will never melt anyways. Buy seasonal veggies and fruit instead. In winter, you'll see really funky and tasty root veggies such as purple potatoes, jordskokke and kale taking over the fridges, like the vile weed it is. Vile weed! And cabbage. The amount of cabbage eaten by the Danes is actually scary. I think we get some sort of cabbage salad around 3-4 times a week at work. Fascinating. Fascinating. In summer we get amazing berries, super sweet peas and fresh celery and more. And of course there's always a plethora of imported goods from all over the place. Once in a while you'll find a good deals on prunes from Argentina. Yum. Your standard veggies such as broccoli, carrots, mushrooms and more are all available throughout the year, and the price doesn't really fluctuate that much. Will your tomatoes taste as great as if you would buy them from a nonna in the Italian Alps? Absolutely not. But they will be organic. Maybe? Maybe? Same for canned and dried foods such as lentils, chickpeas, beans, tomatoes and so forth. The prices roughly stay the same regardless of the season. Copenhagen is flooded with budget supermarkets such as Coop, 365, Netto, Lidl and Rema. The selection is fairly basic in these stores, as in you won't find any fancy vegan cheeses here, but if you're on a budget, these are the supermarkets where you should go. I mentioned earlier to cut out the fake meat stuff to save money, but we have a bit of a situation with tofu. The tofu scene here in Copenhagen just sucks. The variety is poor. It is not as easily available as you would imagine for a place like Copenhagen, and a lot of the time it is not cheap. I would recommend going to Rema 1000 and getting these type of tofus. They are nice and tasty and not too expensive, and all the Remas will have them. Of course, you can also go to the Asian stores to check out what they have. An alternative to supermarkets is to go to these tiny markets around town, which are often much cheaper than actual stores. These sell fruits, veggies, legumes, spices and more importantly, some ingredients that you often cannot find in budget supermarkets. Do you need a bunch of herbs without a whole pot? Wanna buy a daikon? The most exotic radishes from a very distant foreign land? This is the place. Another tip here is that you can keep an eye out on discounts and buy long shelf life things in bulk. To look for discounts, you can use this page called Mein Tilbud, which is an aggregator for all promotions. You can search for specific items or see what each store has on sale at the moment. Now let's talk a little bit about how to combat food waste if you're a vegan. A good alternative to traditional supermarkets is WeFood, which is a surplus food store that is trying to combat food waste. There are not that many of these stores in Copenhagen, and their stock really depends on what they can get their hands on, but I think it can be a good idea if you check them out once in a while. Previously I bought packs of chocolate milk, frozen falafels, vitamins and other random things here before at stupidly low prices. There aren't really that many of them in Copenhagen, but I absolutely love what they are trying to do here, trying to save food not to go to waste. And then the people working here are actually volunteers, and I think it is just lovely what they are doing. If you are not near any of the WeFood stores, you could check out Potatoes the DK, which sells surplus, soon to, or just straight up expired goods online with delivery. This can be a hit and miss for us vegans, but often they have milks, oats, canned goods and other random items that you can get for a very decent price. There are also food sharing organizations combating food waste, where you can pick up a box of food for around 3 to 4 euros, which usually contains veggies, fruits and sometimes bread. I never tried this before because I thought they were always very far from me, so I'm gonna give it a go. Links obviously will be in the description. Ramen life and free food. So now that we covered normal human food, let's go down to the dirt cheap ramen noodle diet of a uni student. Can you live this luxurious lifestyle as a vegan too? Yes. Here's your goal for success, the vegan Korean ramen. It is tasty and super cheap, and most Asian stores have them. It costs around €2 per packet. As a rich 30-something years old, I do not need to eat these anymore, but they are one of my guilty pleasures, and I indulge in the sodium overload once in a while. Actually, a new contender has also entered the chat in the form of this vegan yakisoba recently. This is something that you can get in bigger supermarkets nowadays, roughly for the same price. Anything below the ramen budget? Free food perhaps? Surprisingly enough, that it can also be an option here in Copenhagen. I don't want to say that the dumpster diving is hugely popular in Denmark, but I do know a few people who get most of their foods this way. Now, I've never done it myself, but here are a few accounts that I follow on Instagram that reminds me on the daily of the crazy food waste that we produce here in Denmark. To be honest, I'm not gutsy enough to do this myself, but I love that there is a movement around it and that people share their experiences on social media. If you're from a warmer country, I know that this idea might sound completely insane, but when I look at this truly scary graph of the rising temperatures in Denmark, the yearly annual mean temp is around 9 degrees, which means that for quite a few months out of a year, the dumpsters are basically act as a fridge. Again, I will leave links to a few dumpster divers in the description for some inspiration for you. Luckily, I do not have to be on a student budget anymore, so I do buy luxury vegan goods such as tasty vegan cheese. Oh wait a second, I actually don't, because the best supermarket for vegans is actually closing down in Copenhagen. I do have a video about that as well, maybe you could check that out. I also have a lot of other videos about life over here, so please do check those out as well, and I will see you in the next one.